Welcome, Scorpio. Welcome to your monthly reading for the month of June. But before we begin, I want to let you know that I do daily video horoscopes, weekly video horoscopes, monthly video horoscopes, and monthly sun, rise, and sign video horoscopes. You can watch these on my YouTube channel or you can watch them on my website, www.realmofastrology.com. Also, please hit the subscribe button. Alright, so let's begin. Before I talk about June, I want to mention that we are in between eclipses. We are in a period in between eclipses. There was an eclipse on May 26th and there will be an eclipse on June 10th. And why is this important? It's important because this period between eclipses, these 14 days, are karmic, they are destined, they are very important. These days can speed up events, they can speed up things that are not happening but are meant to happen for you, and they can also bring pieces of information, they can bring pieces of information to light, like I just said. So it's a very destined time and it's a very potent and powerful time. All right, so let's start with June, and the first event I want to talk about happens on 1st June, and it's the Sun North Node conjunction. Hang on. There. They are going to meet up. The Sun and the North Node are going to meet up. The Sun is our consciousness, it's our identity, it's our soul, and the North Node is where we are headed. But the North Node is also an energizer. So in this case, it's energizing our soul, our identity, our consciousness. And for you, Scorpio, since the Sun is in your 8th house for the past 11 days and continuing into the next 20 days or so, you will be focused on the areas of your life that will be illuminated, are connected to investments, not finances, investments, personal karma, transformation, ending things, beginning new things, healing, catharsis, regeneration. This is the focus for you, and the North Node Sun conjunction will only magnify these themes in your life. So that happens on June 1st for you, Scorpio. Moving on to June 2nd, we have two events. One is that Venus is going to change signs, and the second is the last quarter phase of the moon. So let's talk about Venus changing signs. Venus changes signs on June 2nd. So for the past 20-25 days or so, it has been transiting your 8th house, meaning you have been more receptive to matters connected to the 8th house, which are investments, which is personal karma, which is regeneration, healing, catharsis, transformation, endings. It's also endings, and it's also intimacy. You've been very receptive to these areas, Scorpio, and Venus has also given you gifts in these areas for the past 20-25 days. And now, as it enters your 9th house, you will be more receptive, and Venus will give you blessings and gifts connected to your belief system, higher education, foreign travel, adventure, higher education, all these things. And it's going to stay here till June 27th. The second thing that happens today is the last quarter phase of the moon. It's the Sun Moon Square, the last square 90-degree angle before the new moon on June 10th. Now, this is the point where we let go. We start the letting go process. We start to release things. And what are you releasing, Scorpio? You're releasing what started for you on May 11th with the new moon. And that new moon happened in your 7th house, okay? In your 7th house. So on May 11th, there was a new beginning connected to your relationships and business partnerships and even legal issues. And now you're assessing, what about those relationships can come with me the next month? And it's not very, it may just be a subconscious thing as well. What do I do in relationships that needs to go, that needs to stay? All that is going to happen for the next 1 week till June 10th. So that's June 2nd for you, Scorpio. Moving on to June 10th. This is a new moon solar eclipse. Now, what is a new moon? A new moon is when the sun and the moon meet up. And they meet up once in a month. And when they meet up, we have a new beginning. We seed things for the future. And when the new moon is next to the nodes, as it is on June 10th, it becomes an eclipse. Now, this eclipse is a supercharged new beginning, okay? Because eclipses stay with us for a long time. The eclipse energy can stay with us at least for 6 months, but sometimes years on end. Whereas a new moon energy stays with us only for a month. For you, Scorpio, this new beginning is happening in your 8th house of intimacy, of regeneration, of healing, of transformation, of investments. This is where a new beginning in June will happen for you. Okay. Sorry, let me go back to that chart because I want to talk about June 11th before we move on to June 14th. Now, on June 11th, two important things are happening. What are those things, Scorpio? First, Mars right here is going to change signs. It's going to leave your 9th house and enter your 10th house. Mars has been in your 9th house for the past 40 days or so. So Mars has reinvigorated, re-energized, replenished matters associated with your belief system, with your higher education, with foreign travel, adventure, knowledge, wisdom. These are the areas that Mars has reinvigorated for the past 40 days, and now it's going to energize, reinvigorate, replenish your career for the next 40 days. That's a great thing. And another thing that happens today on June 11th is that the Sun and Mercury are going to meet up. Now, this can be where you receive a message from the past, where you have a realization connected to the past. So this is on June 11th. Now, moving on to June 14th. June 14th is the most important astrological event of the year. Actually, the event's going to last all year because Saturn and Uranus are going to be squaring all year, and the square comes exact on June 14th. Now, before I tell you what this means for you specifically, let me break down Saturn, let me break down Uranus for you and in general. So Saturn has been in your 4th house, Scorpio. As you can see, it's been here since December of 2020. And wherever Saturn is, we are asked to work hard. We are asked to get our act together. The job of Saturn is to put that house in order, put matters connected to that house in order, and the process can feel difficult. It can feel stressful. It can demand hard work, and sometimes we may not see rewards for at least a year and a half till Saturn has left that house. And for you, Scorpio, since December of 2020, you have been working on your deepest emotions. You have been working on your home, family, and foundation. Okay, and you're going to continue to do so till 2023. Now let's talk about Uranus. Uranus has been in your 7th house since 2019, and it's going to stay here for 7 years, so that's a long time. And Uranus breaks anything, gets rid of anything that prevents you from coming into your own. It also brings things into your life that will help you become you. So that getting rid of things, getting things into your life to make you who you truly are, to help you come into your authentic self, is happening in your house of relationships. It's all connected to your relationships, marriage, business partnerships, and it's going to stay here for the next till I think 2026. And for you, okay, let's talk about the square now. What is the Saturn Uranus square about? It's about getting rid of old things, old thought patterns, old structures, and embracing the new. It's also about finding your authentic self and coming into your authentic self. And for you, Scorpio, the areas of your life that this transit, or in all of 2021 and all of almost 2022, will highlight is your family, foundation, deepest emotions, and your house of marriage and business partnerships. This is the highlight of this transit for you. So that happens on June 14th, and now moving on to June 17th, this is the first quarter phase of the moon. It's when the sun and the moon make their first 90-degree angle after the new moon, which happened on June 10th. And this is the period where you may face some obstacles, some challenges, some issues connected to the new beginning that you had on June 10th, and you'll have to resolve those, and this can last the whole week. Okay, moving on to June 20th. Two things are happening on June 20th. Let's talk about the sun first. Let me clean up the chart a little bit there. Now, on June 20th, the sun is going to enter Cancer. The focus for the past 30 days till June 20th for you, Scorpio, has been investments, has been personal karma, has been healing, catharsis, regeneration, transformation, intimacy. And now it's going to shift. The focus for the next 30 days for you is going to be your belief system, foreign travel, higher education, knowledge, wisdom, all these things. And let's talk about the second thing that happens on June 20th. This is June 20th that I'm talking about. Jupiter will go retrograde. Now let's talk about Jupiter for a moment. Jupiter spends 1 year in a sign. It came into Pisces on May 13th, which means it changed houses on May 13th for you. For the past 1 year, till May 13th, it has given you gifts, it has given you blessings, it has healed you, and it has even brought with it some lessons connected to your deepest emotions, your home, your family, and your foundation, and your roots as well, where you come from. And now, from May 13th onwards till June 20th, it has given you gifts, it has blessed you, it has even brought with it lessons connected to your love life, connected to romance, connected to children, connected to hobbies, and even the stock market. And now Jupiter will go retrograde. It will start to move backwards, at least from the Earth's perspective. And what that means is the lessons will ease off. We've either learned the lessons by now or we haven't, but the gifts will still keep coming. And this is the time where we reap what we have sown. So whatever lessons you learned when Jupiter was direct, this is the time you'll start to say, I learned that, great. I didn't learn that, I should have. And that's connected to your deepest emotions, your family foundation, as well as romance, hobbies, and children. That happens on June 20th. Now moving on to June 22nd, Mercury will go direct. Mercury is here. It has been retrograde, as I mentioned. And when Mercury is retrograde, we can feel confused. Things from the past can come up into our life. Communication can suffer. It's not the best time to start new things. And forward movement in certain areas of our life doesn't happen as well. So now when Mercury goes direct in your 8th house, matters connected to your 8th house, which are intimacy, investments, regeneration, healing, personal karma, transformation, death, rebirth, endings, beginnings, will resume. The forward movement in those areas will resume for you, Scorpio. Now this is June 24th that I'm going to speak about. June 24th, we have the second most important event of June, which is the full moon in Capricorn. A full moon is when the sun and the moon oppose each other, make a 180-degree angle, and the sun is our soul, it's our identity, it's our consciousness, and the moon is our emotional body. And when they're opposing like this, it does not feel easy, it feels stressful. But a full moon is also a completion point. It is an ending point. It is a release point. It is a culmination point. And in the sign of Capricorn, this is connected to work. However, there are two other things that I want to talk about. The first is that Scorpio, you are completing or being able to see clearly the new beginning that happened on June 10th for you. That's one. The second thing that you're able to see clearly is a transformation that happened in Jan of 2020. In Jan of 2020, Saturn and Pluto met up, and they meet up once in 33 to 35 years. And when they meet up, they change things. And this time they change something for you connected to your 3rd house, which was your mind, which was how you communicate, which was your immediate environment, your siblings, your peer group. That changed in Jan of 2020. And by Jan of 2021, that change became quite visible, quite tangible. You imbibed it completely with the new moon in Capricorn on Jan 13th and 14th. And now you're able to look back to Jan 20th and say on June 24th, 2021, that yes, that was the change that happened for me. So you're able to see that clearly, and that change is complete now. It doesn't mean the cycle that started in Jan 2020 has ended. It means that it's complete. And for you, Scorpio, this full moon is happening in your 3rd and 9th house, which means it will bring to light matters connected to your communication, your mind, your immediate environment, your peer group, your surroundings, immediate travel, and your higher education, foreign travel, belief system. These are the areas that that the focus will be on this full moon. And the next thing I want to talk about happens on June 25th. Neptune goes retrograde on June 25th. It has been transiting your 5th house, Scorpio, since 2011. Neptune is a very slow-moving planet, so it takes very long to transit a house. And since then, wherever Neptune is in our chart, two things can happen. One, we can feel deceived, we can feel confused, we may not be able to see things clearly connected to matters of that house. or that the matters of that house can help us connect to the higher realm, can help us develop universal love and compassion, can help us cultivate a truly magical feeling. So it really depends, because Neptune is these two very different energies. And for you, Scorpio, Neptune since 2011 has been in your fifth house, meaning matters connected to romance, love, children, pleasure, hobbies have either been confusing or not, or foggy, or they've really connected you with the higher realm, connected you with the divine, and it's been magical. It really depends. And when Neptune goes retrograde, as it will on June 25th, that confusion, if you have that, will start to ease off. It will also bring you rewards if you've put in Neptunian work, which means cultivating. If you have cultivated universal love and compassion, it will reward you. So that's on June 25th. And the last thing for the month happens on June 27th. It is Venus changes signs again. From your 9th house, it's going to come into your 10th house. And for the next 20-25 days, you're going to be more receptive to your work, to your career, to your business. And it is also going to give you gifts connected to your career. So that was your monthly reading for June. Scorpio, I try to go as fast as I can through it. And now I'm going to pick a card to give you the energy for the month, one card. So let me do that for you. I'll go with this since it fell out, and it says Unfinished Symphony. There is some unfinished business in your life, Scorpio, that you need to end. If there is something that you're wanting to let go of and haven't been able to, let it go. Let it go. It's an unfinished chapter in your life. It's an unfinished symphony in your life. And I don't feel it's so much of closing it out as it is letting it go. Mentally, you may be attached. This is the feeling that I get. Mentally, you may be attached to a certain outcome or a certain chapter in life or certain ways things could have gone. And now is the time to let it go, because it's an unfinished chapter. It's an unfinished symphony, and in some ways it has finished. It hasn't ended in your mind, because sometimes when things end in reality, they still stay with us in our mind, in our heart. And I think that's the case with you. So let it go, whatever it is. That's the message for June, because there's a new beginning, and this is about endings. And I did mention that you have so much energy in your 8th house, which is about transformation, which is about death, which is about ending old things. So end that thought process, end that attachment, end whatever it is that you need to let go of and transform. So that's all I'll leave you with. If you think any of your Scorpio friends will benefit from this video, do hit the share button and send it to them. And if you like this video, do hit the subscribe button. Okay, so I will see you guys next time. Bye.